Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
Hello and welcome to Travel Market Life, and this is part of the Hotel Partner Series, where we're looking at how INua Collection uses guest data. We're going to be speaking to Dylan Cole, Managing Director EMEA of Revenate, a guest data platform and guest communication solutions used by over 12,000 hotels worldwide, and Amir Hallahan, Group Head of Marketing and E-commerce at Clister Hospitality and the INua Collection. Clister Hospitality is one of the largest operators and managers of hospitality venues in Ireland, with 13 hotels and 1,200 rooms, including a range of bars, restaurants, spas, meeting and convention spaces. The INua Collection is a select group of 4- and 5-star hotels, each uniquely inspired by its team of passionate people, rich culture, and stunning surrounding landscapes. In our conversation today, we're going to be looking at the role of guest data, delivering better experiences and assisting hotel operations, the systems that harness guest data, the commercial impact, staff engagement, and what's next for guest data.
Travel Market Life.
So joining me first is Dylan. Thank you ever so much for coming along today to talk to me about the guest data journey for hotels. Now, first-party data is all the talk at the moment. Why is first-party data so important, Dylan?
Hey, thanks for having me, Ryan. I really appreciate it. First-party data, we talk about it all the time in the office and with our customers, and there's a few reasons why it's important. One reason that we all can't deny is that Apple, Google, and Mozilla, all the big players in the browser space where you're going on the internet, they're ending third-party cookies. And they keep teasing us this is going to happen. We're not exactly sure when it will finally take place, but if you don't have first-party data under control, you're going to basically lose the opportunity or ability to properly market to your guests. The other part of it, which is impacting hoteliers now, or any marketer for that matter, is that having first-party data allows you to do really effective marketing. There's a study by McKinsey. Customers are 70% of consumers are more likely to make a repeat purchase if the messaging is tailored to them or designed based on the first-party data that you have about them. So really keep that in mind.
As you say, I mean, we've been purchasing third-party data for lookalike audiences and doing mailing campaigns of all sorts across OTAs. And as you say, the search engines like Google and Google Ads. As I say, owning your own data allows you then to deep dive into that, and you're not compromising, I guess, guest data at the same time. But as you say, make your strategies and marketing campaigns much more personalized. Yeah. In what way are you seeing guests or hoteliers use guest data to deliver those better experience and also assist in hotel operations?
Yeah, so there's a few ways that we see hoteliers using the data. Some things as simple as a pre-arrival email looking different based on who the guest is. Some of the other points that I think aren't as well thought about are, and this benefits the hotel too, but it should benefit the guest ultimately, is if you have clean data and you have access to your first party data, you should be able to provide the right offers to the right guests. And I'll give you an example. If you have a high spender and you see they're always booking the luxury suite, do you really need to send them the 15% off flash sale? Is that a smart move for them to then think of your brand in a lower way potentially, or for you to lose money on that guest? So it can affect their experience, but also hurt your bottom line if you're doing that kind of marketing. So I think those are some good examples there. And then you asked about operationally. Well, if you have clean data, which is always and continues to be a challenge for hoteliers, then you can put that into use in the customer-facing part of the guest experience where you're welcoming them back or being able to speak to them in an informed manner when they're checking in or on property. I think just some really basic ways to use that data.
So let's look at the systems then for hotel industry, because it is quite a unique industry, and there are many other sort of data systems out there. Why is the hotel industry so unique, and what sort of systems that should they be considering to harness that guest data?
We think about the CRM, and so we think about how do we ultimately bring all your data from these different sources together, clean it, and allow the hoteliers to take action on it. But if I sort of take that out into the next step of other products hoteliers should be thinking about is, first of all, your PMS is where all this data starts. So hopefully they're thinking about friendly PMS vendors that offer connections to other systems like us and others. And then other places and other systems that allow you to also grab guest information and first party data and bring it into a system like Revenate. So some of the ones I think about are systems like chatbots like Ask Suite or Hi Jiffy. These are some friendly partners of ours that have chatbots on the website that are constantly collecting guest intent data and email addresses. Obviously, website signups, those are easy, but you want to get those in from the website too and have that designed in a manner that is capturing that data. Wi-Fi logins, website optimization tools like TripTease and Hotels Network. There's some really good platforms out there to optimize the website, and then obviously making sure those partners are thinking about being able to pass that data over into a system like Revenate so we can compile it we can bring it all together, clean it up, so you actually have that full nice view of that first party data.
Wonderful. Now, I really want to hear from a hotelier that's actually been utilizing guest data to their commercial advantage. So joining us on the line now is Amir Hallahan from Clister Hospitality. Thanks ever so much for sharing your story with us today. Can you tell us, please, Amir, why did you select Revenate, and how is it used, particularly, I understand, within the INua Collection?
Well, firstly, thank you, Ryan and Dylan, for having me join you guys on this chat. So I suppose where we came to for our INua Collection hotels in selecting Revenate as our chosen partner for CRM, it was really about three key things. I suppose initially when I arrived, I was the first marketing hire at Clister Hospitality, and email marketing CRM was basically unknown of in the company. So we wanted a partner who could do everything for us and who could fill that gap of internal resources that we weren't in a place to fill internally. Secondly, then GDPR, it's a huge thing for anyone who's in marketing in the EU. They'll know that it's mandatory for us. And in selecting a partner, Revenate really reassured us that the data was going to be completely compliant, and our use of that data in remarketing would be completely compliant. And then thirdly, kind of touching off what Dylan was just talking about, integration was massive for us. So again, we were in startup phase. We didn't have as many hotels as what we do now. And with the team being so small, we really wanted something that could dig into every tool that we had in the business and automatically bring that data back in centrally to a CRM system. So integration with our PMS, integration with our Wi-Fi systems, with our fitness club systems, with our spa booking systems. And so is that any touch point that we had with the guest, automatically their email data was being brought back into that one central place. So that really for us was Revenate was offered all the ease of use basically.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating, particularly as you say that you not only had to sort of bring that change and approach to marketing and actually bring in some of these aspects to engage directly with your bookers, but then also to be able to have the time to be able to understand, your guests and what's happening within the property and the revenue generation there. What has been the commercial impact of getting that greater transparency of data?
So I suppose if we're talking purely in numbers, we have generated over €8 million of room revenue directly from our email marketing on Revenate over the past 24 months. Phenomenal number. And when you break that down per property, it is a massive revenue impact on the business. It may not be our highest revenue generating marketing channel, but it is without doubt our top channel for ROI. That financially is the commercial impact. I suppose the other major commercial impact, which some people find hard to quantify, but for us, it's the goldmine of data that we have untapped via our partnership with Revenate. So we now have over 1 million profiles on our group CRM database. when we commenced 24 months ago, this was just under 500,000. And all of those profiles were completely untapped. It's a goldmine of data, but we knew it was there, but we weren't making any use of it. So opening our business up to all of that data, and as Dylan mentioned, the fact that third-party cookies are disappearing fairly rapidly, having those 1 million profiles firsthand to us, it's far greater than the 8 million of euros of that we can calculate.
Excellent. And now, I mean, what have you been able to do now? What are the capabilities that you have that you weren't having before?
So I suppose that the primary piece that we have focused on and the impact and, our strategy with Revenate was to drive an elevated customer experience. So, we see thousands of hotels on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok every day. You get served ads by I don't know how many brands off Google or whatever other search engine you prefer to use. But for us, it was really about personalization. And so with Revenate, we have been able to, dig down into our data and not just look at it as an umbrella million personas, but look at the trends and the type of experiences that guests are looking for. We can send out post-stay surveys to our guests. We can start tracking all of their preferences on their profiles. And so being able to drill down into the specific details of what every single guest prefers, and then communicating to them based on what their needs and desires and what individually motivates them as a guest, that for us is just been a massive learning curve and a massive help to our business.
I was going to say, the next question was, what did you learn in deployment? And Dylan did mention this thing about cleaning data. Did you have that experience? And what other aspects of that implementation did you learn some significant insights to the business?
Yeah, so I suppose, the implementation phase, it certainly involved an infinite amount of learning for us. I personally, I suppose, as with a lot of marketing professionals, come from a background where data and clean data is Bible. But, I suppose working in an industry like hospitality, and no discredit to it, it is more of a traditional industry. People aren't very familiar with data. And we had, I suppose, a mix of colleagues from people who didn't know what CRM stood for. So clean data alone was like level 2, but we really set out from the beginning. So explaining what's the purpose of this, what is CRM, what's the value of simply asking a guest on check-in, can you have their email address, and being able to demonstrate to our colleagues that there is a value to every single email address that we can collect. That was, I suppose, that was a major learning to start with. So understanding that perhaps the knowledge level within the business wasn't there, and it was perhaps just a lack of education and engagement around the importance of data. That was our first piece. And then, I suppose we have gotten to a place now of a wider business learning around clean data. But definitely number one, it was just understanding that everyone around the business is on different levels of understanding of the importance of data, and Revenate offering that simple solution.
Yeah, I mean, what you can see there is that some people see it as an additional administrative task without really understanding the purpose behind it. And so what you've gone through is that educational approach with your team to make sure that they fully understand that value, as you've just explained, across all team members, across all the levels within the organization. Is that right?
Yes, completely. So I suppose, we started off and we took it as, let's break this down into a small project. When we saw that we had this touching on 500,000 unclean profiles, that's a massive task. And I think that that's what creates fear in people in stepping into the world of CRM. So we broke it down hotel by hotel, and we chose one of our hotel teams as the lucky one to start with, pilot Revenate with. And we took learnings from there down to, what are the basics that people want to understand? And in an extremely busy hotel operation, how much time do they actually have to dedicate to CRM on a daily basis? And instead of all of these complex forms of us looking at it, in terms of, right, if we're asking to build out a CRM profile, it's not about getting every minute detail down to a this is the type of wine that they like to drink. Literally, we decided, right, the learning curve is on check-in, we just want email address, and you do not need to ask for anything else. If you ask for their name and their email address and you hand them their key card, that's job done for us.
Ryan, can I say something? Because I think you and I had a conversation about this at IHTF, and I think one of the things that I shouldn't show my frustration here so much, but sometimes we'll have a call where somebody says to me, like, I need to know if my guest likes their martini with a lime or a lemon in it. Like, that's what I need my CRM to do. I don't even know if that's a great example, but you get to my point. But at the same time, that hotelier can't definitively tell me how many guests they've had in their property that stayed more than 3 times. What you should really be focusing on is like the basics of, like, do you know the foundational stuff of, like, how many repeat guests you have? What are your top markets? Can you pull those markets together and segment them and use them? So I really do feel like some people need to refocus and get the basics down before they try to go to that next place.
Yeah, it sounds like rather than throw everything in it at once, make sure you've got a strategy of implementation, of development and usage of the systems so that you're actually maximizing what you can out of it. And, as you say, Amir, making sure that you've got your team behind you on the ground who's able to put this data into the system, because essentially either you're going to be grabbing the data from what the guests provide you digitally or through the purchases that they're making, or it has to be from the interactions and the guest service that the team is providing. Now, Amir, with 13 hotels and growing, what's the next evolution of guest engagement and communications for Calista?
So I suppose for us, we're well past that point now of asking just for that email address. So we have gotten to that next level. We have cleaned up all our data. So next step is definitely continued segmentation. And, now we can segment guests based on their behaviors, their locations, their family status, and we've come to a point where, yes, we now have that data of, we can add their martini preference to their profile, but it's not the first and foremost thing that's going to drive our CRM strategy for us. But being able to segment down guests by geolocations, by their loyalty tiers, that for us, and continuing on that as third-party cookies fade out and the value of first-party data grows, it's all about segmented. Really gotten to a place where it's micro sends outs to really segmented groups of guests with specific offers, specific messaging and content that relates specifically to them and their personality. Definitely next step with our partnership with Revenate then also is SMS. So emails opened huge doors to us, and SMS is definitely, open rates are even higher than email, and I think it's also building that relationship. We've gotten into people's inboxes and now we want to get into their WhatsApp. This week we actually have had a group CRM executive join our team, which is like a massive milestone for us, because we now have someone dedicated within the marketing team who's going to run Revenate for us and who's going to bring our strategy to the next level. We wouldn't have been able to hire that resource without being able to show the business the value of CRM, and without Revenate software, which brought us from a startup scenario where we didn't have investment to now being at a level of, we've grown the business and we've also seen the growth that CRM has supported, and now it's a central part of our strategy.
Can I ask then, Emmy, why did you pick Revenate and not someone that's well known like HubSpot and Salesforce? They're utilized by so many companies as a CRM. Why did Revenate seem a best fit for a hotel?
Well, I suppose I come from outside of hospitality. I'd never worked in a hotel before, so all I had worked with was the HubSpots of the world. But hotels are a very specific business. The personalization that you have to offer to a guest is extremely specific. It's nothing like retail. It's experience, it's service, it's not product. You also have, as I say, all of the integrations that came with Revenate. That for us really was a massive deal breaker. As I mentioned, our hotel teams are 100% tied up in operations. They don't have time to be feeding these systems.
Now, Dylan, what advancements are we going to see in the coming years around guest engagement?
We're definitely introducing other channels. So text messaging, is a big part of our evolution. And we actually are bringing our phone systems over to Europe. And we'll be doing that towards the end of this year. And that's basically central reservations system that allows people to manage a call center, also view as the agents are receiving a call, they can see CRM data about the guest, know who they are. And then if the guest doesn't book, they end up being retargeted through the marketing team. So we're actually doing more official partnerships with F&B systems, spa systems.
Excellent. And now, Amir, what advice can you give to hoteliers to get on top of their guest data and use a CRM effectively?
I suppose my main piece of advice to hoteliers is that, your customer experience could not be of more importance. And right now, first-party data is everything for marketing. And I think hoteliers really need to get on top of that. It's now or never.
Excellent. Guys, thank you ever so much for that input. I know I could talk to you a lot longer about the guest data and how you've been utilizing it within my favorite topic, marketing. But we'll have to get you back in at some point and delve deeper into some of these issues. Thanks again for joining us here on Travel Market Live.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
You can check out more hotel partner episodes on our podcast channel, Travel Market Life, where we've spoken to Louvre Hotels, Journey Hospitality, and Virgin Hotels about the systems that they use. Also, we have just launched the season 3 of Hoteliers Voice. Check out some of those episodes too, where we are currently speaking to Best Western and Columbia Beach Resort. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Thanks for listening. Ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music Sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.